It's a new day on Titus Pétange. Sounds like some kind of moon. It is, Season 2, Episode 2, and it is Attack of the Regens. This season has been garbage. Surprise, surprise. Lowest league position, 14th, in a table of 18 teams. 14th! With the players that we've got, really? Too much change, I'm putting it down to. There's so much to get on with this episode, so much to talk about. Jeunesse de Esch are absolutely running away with this league. And we're in 11th place, charging. Just a quick hello to our mascot today, Noodle, under the covers, getting warmed up, bless him. There we go. What to even start off with? Yeah, schedule. We looked so pathetic. There's no other way of saying it. We looked pathetic. Absolutely no backbone. And, going from 2-0 up to drawing 2-2. I think there might be this 3-4 loss where we were up 3-0. We were like, yes, this is a good win. And we lose 4-3? Absolutely no backbone whatsoever. And the league actually started well. It gave me false hope. That stopped very quickly. After the very beginning, we went on 10 games in the league without a win. 10 games without a win. And it had to be turned around at some point, and it was turned around against Dudelange. A 3-2 result there, and losing to Racing FC Luxembourg. But then, now, we're on a 7-game. I'm counting this right? 2, 3. It's a 7-game undefeated streak outside of the Luxembourg Cup. And actually, it started out, this undefeated run started out in the best possible way, because we actually won a game that looked like we were doing the exact same things, the exact same patterns were emerging. We were 2-0 up, then Etzela came back 2-2. 92nd minute, Ryan Felipe came in and scored the goal. Now, part of this improvement, I think so, is to do with the tweaking of the tactic, and we have now gone away from the asymmetrical 4-4-2. That holding midfielder is now being put into centre mid. Analysis, we're a little bit weak here, I guess. I don't know why we're a little bit weak here, because we've got a player literally planted in that position. But it has been offering a little bit more. So I can't really complain. This is definitely a better fitting tactic, and I've just put the mentality to balanced, because it looked like we were being caught so much on the counter attack. That seems to have added a positive change to everything as well. Of course, this 4-2-4 remains exactly the same, but like I said, I was going to tweak this 4-4-2 tactic to finally get something that was really working for us, and we might be there. I might change one of the centre-backs to a ball playing later on. Obviously, the 2 forwards will change to complete forwards when we get the chance. Let's talk about the regens, because there are so many to talk about. I will go. It's even freezing up. It froze up. There's so many to load in. My goodness. Transfer activity. This is a big scroll. We've got about 50 players, maybe even 60, 70 all ready to go. It is incredible. And the reason why I'm overloading on Regens here is because most of them want non-contract deals. So I can happily offer them non-contract deals. And if they're actually really good, then we can swap them over to a part-time, really low pounds per week contract, because that's more desirable. So sign them all up, non-contract. If they're 5 stars, sign them on a part-time deal and profit. If they're not good enough, we can release them, no problem. We don't have to pay for anything if we decide to release them. And that's kind of what's happened in the transfer history. Because we have this entire list of already transferred players into Titus Pétange. But if we look at like the under 23s, it's not that massive. Like we got 1, 2, 3. In fact, I can just shift click it. We got 15 5-star players. And obviously that list is way more than 15. So it's probably better for me to just flick through the squad. On the other side, the outs, where did we even get to? I think it was the Yannick de Gracia transfer. So Tamzini, the second choice, then really third choice goalkeeper, was moved on. Balakem already really quickly went on a free because he was just not good enough. Mack Schmitten went on a free. I think the third choice right back at that point. Charles Kenny Mayasi, yet again a free transfer that we got in July, was already out the door by August because he wasn't good enough. One of the forwards that we quickly scrambled together last season, Alexandre Phil, he's moved on to Zella. And then it's Cristiano Pascual moving on a free. The Argentinian striker sent packing. Ostrovsky, centre back. Diamande. Players that I thought would have a part to play this season, sadly, has not had a part to play this season, have already been replaced in a very quick fashion. And thankfully, we've been able to get them out the door quickly. In the case of this Mandara Diamande kid, you probably haven't seen him because I think after the first episode, we signed him up. Just try and find this. There we go. So on the 24th of September, we signed him up. And then he was given his marching orders by the 19th of January. Yikes. I knew that the central midfield spots were a little bit weak. So what we did was actually sign up a loanee that we signed up last year. The actual team signed up last year, but we're not paying that much for him, £210 a week. That strengthened up the midfield, but also strengthened up the midfield is getting this lad from the academy, the Australian academy that's ridiculous. Is it the CU Academy? The Canberra United Academy. I'll remember that. We've got players like Pashko. I need to just run through this because we've had so many regions come in. Ryan Felipe's still here. This crazy Norwegian lad. How I do it is that as soon as it hits January, we shortlist everybody from that year in terms of youth intake. And it's also the perfect time for the Norwegian players parting contracts to be picked up as a free agent. This guy, Terje Stangnes, was exactly that situation. And he is a monster. That kid's a monster. He's going to be partnered up with a Spanish regen forward next season. And they're both going to be insane. They're both going to be so good. We got Steinmetz, the right back, obviously. Stump's still here. And Lee Williams from the CU Academy. Abreu's still here. Albi Allah has probably been the best player this season. I'm not even going to lie. He's been really, really good. Raider Blancard was one of the many free agent French players that we found, either dropping from clubs or just emerging occasionally and suddenly interested in the Luxembourg team. Then a really late recruit in Lorenzo Borri. Capo is the goalkeeper still. Fabio Sequeira Martins is still here, but he's listed out, ready to go to a new team. Cesar still here, but we've got left-back company now. And I signed him up for 2 years. It might have been a little bit of a mistake. I think we can... I didn't expect left-back to be one of our most abundant areas for regens. I don't think it's something that you can really prepare yourself for. Collett's still here, and he's had an absolute stinker of a season, in my opinion, even though his average rating has been 7.03. I'm much more comfortable with proper fullbacks out there. Let's talk about Noel D'Angelo for a second, because this is not one of my finds. The scouts found him. I don't know how they've done it, because our scouting range is so small, and then they just rang me up one day through the scouting tab, obviously, and they're like, "Your boss. So there's this massive Argentinian centre back that's pretty good already, and he wouldn't want that much money. Only problem with him is that he's a bit injury prone." I was like, okay, where do I sign up? He's quality. He is quality, and he's improved immensely since we've got him. Mario Ferreira, just about staying around, transferred for next season on the free transfer. History-wise, yeah, only the one goal. Only the one goal for Titus Pétange. So not the kind of impact that I wanted. Tim Finkbeiner just made his debut for Titus Pétange in the last game and looked very, very deadly. I really liked what I saw with that. He got a man sent off. There's Loop, the loanee. Holter's still here. Had a really solid season. Really like Dwayne Holter. Alexander Laucart, of course, still here. Luis Felipe, Youth Academy goalkeeper from last season, still with max potential, so that's something to look forward to. Probably my favourite regen so far is Andy Mack, the left back from Germany. Of course, all of these all of these regens are cost the club zero, absolutely nothing. Andy Mack, really determined, is a driven personality. If we go on to the development, maybe changing him to a central midfielder. Yet again, there's an abundance of left-back talent. And if we can potentially move him to centre mid, it can accommodate Cesar for the next season. Obviously, we're not going to win anything this time round, but we are charging up the league now, which is just a bit more of a relief for me. Because the pressure was on from last season. We went 10 games without a win, and the board have been super patient. They actually kind of doubled down on believing in me, because after them 10 games, they were like, we'll fund you a coaching course. Which is insane. I remember especially the failed Portugal save on stream. That Portuguese board for Fiorenze, I genuinely can't remember the team's name. The Portuguese board that I was dealing with was absolutely disgusting, and they didn't take no for an answer, essentially. These guys have been really, really relaxed and flexible, and it's going to come in so good for them now that I've got the Regens flooding the squad. Bro, Titus Pétange are going to absolutely dominate Luxembourg football, and it might not be this year, it might not be next year, but in 2 years' time, you better believe that we'll be there. You better believe that we will be there, because they have given me the opportunity now. And you know what? For the first time ever in Football Manager, I want to say thank you to the board by giving them this immense success. Because this board have been nothing but spot on. Spot on with me. Kai Merck, still here. I just like Kai Merck. Nice little loan signing in from Benfica, I believe. Yes, Vasco Pacencia. The only problem is that he was very injury prone and got a torn hamstring. So, yeah, he was starting to get in his stride. And I think this signing, honestly, was one of the reasons why we started faltering. Because we brought him in, we kind of displaced that Argentinian striker that decided to eventually go. And Pacencia wasn't really the kind of smash hit that we wanted immediately. So I think that lost us a lot of goals within that 10-game losing streak, or without a win, should I say? We're into Pashko with the very, very good start. So a 2.5-star right back, Portuguese, maximum potential. Just worried about the downward form of his technical, mentals and physicals. But I am turning him into a fullback, which I can see that he has slightly increased on, improved on. It's good. Felipe's there. And I think we've got through them all. Now, Noodle's wanting to go out, but I can't let him out just yet because we're recording. Noodle, if you go on to bed for a second. Go on to bed, mate. Go on to bed. Get up on bed. Get up on bed, Noodle. Quickly. 1, 2, 3. Good lad. Just stay there for a sec. Stay there. Yeah, a bit of a shambles, this recording. But I knew that it was going to be because there's so much to talk about. I think we've covered all of the first team. Now, I want to show you what kind of talents we have in the under-23s as well. We got Vetle Brenner, who is a forward from Norway. Not a chance he's going to stay forward. I'm going to develop him as a left winger. We got Thato Sele, a Portuguese winger that could potentially turn into a forward. We got Helton Cruz, who has played a couple of first team games, and he's looked really, really solid, but more as a right back with his height being at 5'10". Havard Davidson is a Norwegian player from a team that I actually managed at one point, Stabæk. Very, very good. I kind of had a smile on my face when I saw that club badge. Diamonde's transferred for next season. Joining Dranessa de Esch. And then Patrick Hartle, a right winger. Yeah, all of these are maximum potential. We have Fabian Heinz, who was transferred into the club this summer through a pre-contract agreement, and he just didn't hit the mark. Stefane Ledoux, should I say? Stefane Ledoux. Let's have another try at that. This is another one of those free agent French players that immediately got interested in Titus Pétange. Let's see in the history if they have had a club prior to this. CO Les Ulis. Okay. Well, he's a really, really good left back. Yeah. Left backs. Omar Mateu, striker. improving in his finishing ability. Nice to see. The great name Rolly Mboko has a lot of work to do, but you know, it could get there. Fernando Mendes. Let's have a look at the information here. Guinea-Bissau. Cool, but also like second nationality in Portuguese. So he's a goalkeeper. Neves, centre back. Christoph Knock-Mosen, striker. Then we got the centre mid Leo Pariso. That was a free agent French player. Let's have a look if it's the same for him. History. Yeah, so it's players that have just left their clubs, their parent clubs, their first clubs for pastures new. Novicia Pravanovic. Christ, what a name. What a name. His composure's going up. That's quite good. Good thing is that some of these like regens with bad personalities are getting moulded by the first team side. It looks like we have some nice personalities in the first team side, but no backbone until very recently. And that could be, it simply could be, the change of the tactics. I knew that we had something good, but that tweak could have been key for our success, or it could simply be because the squad was stabilizing, and I'd shifted my focus from signing players for the first team to signing players for the under-23s team. Marius Schnabel is a right winger. Most of these players you definitely won't see in the first team. They won't grow to the levels that we want them to, but some will. That's the main thing. Some will, and they'll make serious profit. Tisserand is the last player from the under-23s, and we have covered every single person in the team at the moment, and slowly but surely we'll get our way through just the mass amount of players that will be coming into the club. I don't know how we're going to do it. Most of these I'm sure won't be good enough. But if you look at the scouting and the shortlist, you can see all these players that I've got within my boundaries that have got a transfer value of £0. It's a very big list that I could still tap into. It's a list of 79 players, this long. Some of them want contracts straight away, which I'm definitely not going to risk. I know that will limit certain signings, and some of them will be really decent that we miss out on. But at this point, I just want to get the finances in. Low risk, high reward. Low risk, signing players on non-contract. If the 5 stars, get them on a part-time, then we're paying serious money to them. Then we can get the reward later on down the line as they develop with the transfer fee. Cool. And with all that being said and done, I mean, what is there anything else for me to talk about here? Any good goals? Any serious goals? I don't think I wrote down any good goals. No. With all that being said and done, it is time to play Victoria Rospo in the first game of February, okay? You've been very good, Noodle. Stay like that for a little bit, and then you will be rewarded with outside land. So I would like to bring in a couple of regens just to show off what we've got at the moment. So we're going to go for Stang Nice. Probably the right way to say it. Williams. And anything else? I think we can go Pashko at right back. I really don't like the Collet guy, and he doesn't work well with Stumpf. Finkbeiner can go onto the bench because of the really impressive debut. There we go. Andy Mack can also find his way onto the bench as a midfield potential left-back replacement. So, by the end of this game, we might be seeing six regens on the field. 7, I do apologise. D'Angelo, of course, had already got himself very well cemented into the first team. That would be a good way. Kind of pastures new, looking forward, because obviously this season has not gone to plan at all. It's gone to shit. But recently, we've got our act together and we are charging. We're not going to get anywhere near Jeunesse d'Esch. That's not happening. If we win this league title, it would be the biggest bottle job I've ever seen. That is not happening. However, European places is very much within our sights. I can see it. 4th place might be Conference League qualifying spot, which is not great. Can we just have some peace at the moment? Just lay down, Noodle. Lay down. I told him to wait. Come on. Don't be upsetting me here, lads. I specifically picked this one because I thought it was bound to get goals. And what we haven't got right now is goals. Let's go on to the tactics. I'm going to stay true. We're going to have 7 regens on the field at the end. In for Stumpf. Change to the 4-2-4. Oh, Felipe. Yeah, we'll have the goalkeeper in to make that 7. And confirm the changes. 7 regens on. Come on now. Come on now. Reward me. D'Angelo to Cesar. I do apologise if Noodle's been a bit noisy. Oh, go on. Yes, Holter. Tell you, he's been a decent player. From centre mid, scoring 7 goals this season. That's been a real breath of fresh air, really. Yes, I would like to proceed with the tactical changes. And that would put us up to 7th. We'd be in the single digits for the first time in ages. Looks like that'll be the only goal. Come on, lads. Push on for a second one. Think Biner looks really, really solid. My goodness. He could be a special one. We'll have to see. So we might have not won a Luxembourg title in the second season. However, Abreu, lovely stuff. Top corner. However, I would rather take this position that Titus Pétange are in right now than what we had with Mama in the third season, really. We had a couple of decent regens, but nothing to the army. It's an absolute army. It's a barrage of regens coming in for Titus Pétange. And you definitely know that certain ones will be 5-star and potential ability of like 130 and above, which would be ridiculous for Luxembourg. Looking at you, Brazilian regens. Yeah, even some of the Brazilian regens were happy with non-contracts, which really surprised me. It was more difficult in comparison to like the European players to move them onto non-contracts or be interested in non-contracts, but some of them were ready, willing to take non-contracts up with a Luxembourg team to maybe just play football in the continent. I don't know. It's another victory for Titus Pétange, thank you very much. And there were a couple of goals in it in the end. We're up to 7th in the league. After all the mess, we are up to 7th. 34 points, so 21 points off the leaders. I mean, it's only 7 games, isn't it? Nah, Jeunesse d'Esch are just not going to let that go. But the turnaround was quite obvious and the qualities were quite obvious because when we did start turning it, in the middle of starting to turn it around, we drew 1-1 away against Jeunesse d'Esch. So that kind of shows that we should have been up there if it wasn't for the calamities of the start of the season. I really don't know what happened at the start of the season. It might have been a mixture of certain things. My inexperience as a manager might have come into it. That's why I was asking for a coaching course. And all the signings, the tactic not being completely right, but they are all getting fixed. They are all getting fixed. And with that, I've stumbled my way through this episode. See you next time.